Shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. I recently became a brand ambassador for these guys, and let me tell you something. I am glad I did because they are the real deal. SeatGeek is a ticket app that takes all the confusion out of buying tickets. They have a 0 to 10 score on each ticket to let you know if you're getting a good deal or a bad deal. Green means good, red means bad. Your next best night ever is waiting, and SeatGeek has you covered. And that's not all. My listeners can get $20 off their first purchase when they use my code BLUESEATS. That's $20 off your first ticket order with code BLUESEATS. And with these ticket prices that I'm seeing lately, Ranger fans, I would jump on this now. So download the SeatGeek app or go to SeatGeek.com and use my code BLUESEATS for $20 off your first ticket order. SeatGeek, the official ticket app of From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. Let there be live. What is going on, Rangers fans? My name is Jimmy Fanizzi, and this is From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast right here on the Hockey Podcast Network. I hope that you are doing well. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BlueSeats94 and use the hashtag BlueSeats to interact with us on any and all topics at hand. Also, make sure you subscribe on our YouTube channel and all audio platforms, and please rate us 5 stars. It would mean the world to us. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you smash that like button in addition to subscribing, and leave a comment down below using the hashtag BlueSeats to interact with us on all topics at hand. Now, couple of things I want to apologize for before we start this episode. First and foremost, if you're watching on YouTube, obviously you'll see there's no video because, unfortunately, my webcam, once again, decided to crap out on me. I have no clue what the hell is going on with my webcam, so I do apologize about that. So this episode is going to look slightly different if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on the audio side, then you are all good to go. No worries. The second thing I want to apologize for is my voice. Obviously, as you can tell, it is not 100%. That's because I was screaming my lungs out at the Rangers game against the Columbus Blue Jackets this past Sunday, and boy, oh boy, was that a blast. I'm going to do a recap of that game in this episode, but I do want to apologize again for my voice not being 100% and for my webcam not working if you are watching on the YouTube side. There is a third apology that I have to give out, but more on that later. For right now, though, I want to give a recap of my experience this past Sunday when I went to Madison Square Garden for the first time this season to see the Rangers take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, first and foremost, I do want to give a huge shout out to a bunch of Rangers fans who I met there, are fans of the show, who happen to be in the same section as me, mind you. Not the same row, but in the same section. It was 112 I was in. And a lot of them were saying, how they were huge fans of the show. They love the work I'm doing. And first of all, I want to say thank you to those fans who stopped me to say hello. Your support truly means the world. And I also went with a few of my friends, so I want to shout them out as well. They were in the same row as me, so I want to shout out my wonderful friends as well for tagging along with me. But, that experience on Sunday was awesome. Being at Madison Square Garden is just, it's an experience. If you're not from the New Jersey, New York City area, and you've never been to Madison Square Garden, boy, are you missing out. It is worth the trip if you are not from here. If you ever get a chance to go to Madison Square Garden for anything, really, whether it's for a Ranger game, a concert, whatever, just being at the Garden the world's most famous arena is truly, truly amazing. So if you ever have plans to visit New York City one day, if you're not from this area, my number one stop would be Madison Square Garden to see a hockey game or a concert, whatever your preference may be. And while you're at it, if you do plan on visiting New York City and attending a game or a concert, use my code BLUESEATS on SeatGeek for $20 off. You're welcome. Anyway, so this past Sunday, November 12th, Rangers Blue Jackets. And it just so happens that it was a doubleheader at the Garden because the New York Knicks played at, 12 noon that day, and they ended up winning that day. So they ended up changing from the court to the ice within a couple of hours. They were all good to go. Knicks had an afternoon game. Rangers had a night game. So part of me was a bit worried. I was worried coming into this game because, Columbus had played the previous day against the Detroit Red Wings, and they lost 5-4. But that was an afternoon game. And that's when I said that Columbus team is going to come out hungry and aggressive. And sure enough, they did, as Justin Danforth scored the first goal to make it 1-0 Columbus in the first period. That was his fourth of the season. But then, with about 1:15 remaining in the first, Erik Gustafsson is able to get a beautiful pass to Chris Kreider, who finishes with the one-timer to tie it at 1, and that's where we would stand after one period of play. Oh, and by the way, for Chris Kreider, that was his 10th goal of the season. Now, let me say this. That crowd was electric from the get-go. If there's one thing you need to know about Ranger fans, yes, Ranger fans can be a little crazy, putting it very, very nicely, but they're passionate. Ranger fans are some of the most passionate sports fans ever, and that's no lie. That's actual facts. I've never seen a more passionate fan base in New York, other than the Knicks, quite like the New York Rangers. You could talk about Yankee fans and Giant fans and Jets fans. I will argue Jet fans are very passionate as well. But if you're going to ask me top 3 most passionate fan bases in New York sports, number 3, it's the Jets. Number 2, it's the Knicks. And number 1, it's the Rangers. At least in my personal opinion. Yours can vary. Let me know what you think on Twitter and Instagram at BlueSeats94. Am I tripping or do I have a point? Use hashtag BlueSeats or leave a comment below if you're watching on YouTube. But anyway, no disrespect to the Yankees or the Giants, but the Giants have been irrelevant for years, and the Yankees, well, the Yankee fans are just spoiled in my opinion. But that's another discussion for another day on another show. So then we get to the second period, and with about 8:43 remaining in the second period, Vincent Trocheck is able to feed Alexis Lafreniere, and he's able to make it 2-1 Rangers with his 6th goal of the season. But then, shortly afterwards, the rookie for Columbus, Adam Fantilli, would score his 4th of the season to tie it at 2. And then, very shortly afterwards, Sean Kuraly would score his 5th of the season, and Columbus would have a 3-2 lead. Now, this is where things got interesting. With about a little under a minute and a half to go in the second period, the Rangers thought they had tied the game. Will Cooley was the supposed goal scorer. But the ref originally signaled no goal because I guess they had intent to blow the whistle or whatever the heck they said, and they didn't do it. So they decided to look at it to make sure they got the call right. The review took 8 minutes. And on the video board, the puck was in. It was in. And they never blew the whistle. So essentially, the Rangers got robbed of a game-tying goal in the second period, all because Toronto hates the Rangers. For some unknown reason, Toronto does not want things to go the Rangers' way. The puck was clearly in, and the refs are looking at some of the worst camera angles possible when you can clearly see from the back of the net, the camera on the back of the net, not actually in the net, but the camera behind Quick's net, Elvis Merzlikins' net, they zoomed in where you can see the puck was in on the left side. It just crosses over the goal line. And the ref said, no. Awful call. Absolutely awful. As a matter of fact, that was one of the worst officiated games I've ever seen. The Rangers were not getting any calls. You had another instance where Ryan Lindgren got absolutely smoked along the end boards. I forget the person who hit him. But Nick Bonino got after him, started a fight. They obviously got 5-minute fighting majors, but that's beside the point. So that was that. They initially called a 5-minute boarding penalty against Columbus. But then they reviewed it. But then I initially said, maybe they're looking to see if that hit warrants an ejection. But no. They changed it to a 2-minute boarding penalty. On what planet or Minecraft realm is that a 2-minute boarding penalty against Columbus? If you go back and see the hit, Lindgren got hit so hard, he might have a concussion. Now, granted, the Rangers are on a bye week this week. He'll have plenty of time to heal. But even still, how the hell do you call that 2 minutes when you initially called 5? Absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. That officiating crew was trash. Absolute trash. Now, granted, the Rangers did not play all that well in the second period. They were turning over the puck way too much. They were getting too complacent. So I'm not absolving the Rangers of anything here. They did not play a good second period. But the officiating surely did not help at all. So that was the second period. But then we get to the third period. And this is where everything changed. Jonathan Quick absolutely stood on his head for the Rangers. He was making clutch save after clutch save when he needed to. Jonathan Quick was fantastic in that game. And it all led to one of the best moments I've ever seen at a Ranger game in my lifetime. With about 11 seconds to go, Alexis Lafreniere, with his second of the game, ties it at 3 and forces overtime. Now, of course, nothing happens in overtime, so we go to the dreaded shootout. Oh, and by the way, Lafreniere's second goal was his 7th of the season. But then we go to a shootout. It goes 3 rounds. Panarin, unfortunately, doesn't get it. Zibanejad doesn't get it. But then Lafreniere shoots third. And he has such a filthy backhander. And he showed it as he scored the game-winning shootout goal. Quick makes the clutch save, and the Rangers win the game 4-3 in a shootout. That was my experience. A poorly officiated game with a very exciting ending. What a freaking hockey game. Now, earlier, I did mention that there was a third apology that I need to give. But first, a quick word from our sponsors. Bet the action on the ice with DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers can bet $5 on hockey and score $150 instantly in bonus bets. Now, I'm already looking at some early Hart Trophy odds here. I'm looking at Connor McDavid at plus 300, Austin Matthews at plus 400. If it were up to me, I would go with Austin Matthews. But again, that's just me. What you want to bet on is up to you. Download DraftKings now and use our code THPN. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey. That's code THPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/hockey terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gambling resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2023, all rights reserved. The holiday season. It's a great time of year, but let's face it, it can also be one of the most chaotic times of the year. Think about it, all that shopping and decorating, visiting people you don't like. Okay, look, all jokes aside, it may be too early to start decorating for the holidays, but it's never too early to start your holiday shopping. Why not take care of it now before the crowds and packed calendars make shopping a total nightmare, especially when you can get some of the best deals of the season right now before Black Friday. You can shop for Raycon products right now and save up to 50% off because their early Black Friday sale is going on now. You've heard me talk about Raycons before. I mentioned how I like to use them to make my own summer soundtrack with my everyday earbuds. And trust me, if I were you, I would get my hands on these bad boys. A 32-hour battery life and a perfect in-ear fit so they never ever fall out of your ears, even when you're getting a good workout in. These earbuds are worth it. To get everyone in the holiday shopping spirit a bit early, Raycon is currently offering 20% off everything on their site, with select products up to 50% off. So beat the crowds and save now. Trust me, you do not want to miss out on Raycon's early Black Friday sale. Hurry now to buyraycon.com/THPN to get 20 to 50% off site-wide. That's buyraycon.com/THPN to score up to 50% off Raycon products. That's buyraycon.com/THPN. Raycon, power up your everyday. Alright, so we just got done recapping my experience at the Rangers Blue Jackets game this past Sunday. And again, I just want to shout out the Ranger fans who I met there. You all are awesome, and I truly do appreciate your endless love and support for the show. And thank you for hanging out with me the entire game. And a huge shout out to all of my amazing friends who went with me as well. I love you all so, so much, and I thank you for all of your endless love and support. Now, I did mention there was a third apology that I need to get into, so here it is. I would like to take this moment to publicly apologize to Alexis Lafreniere. For those that are unaware, I run a YouTube channel outside of this called The Bottom Line, and if you could, please, please, please subscribe to The Bottom Line. I am 300 subscribers away from 10,000. It would mean the world to me if you could help me get there by the end of the year. So please subscribe to The Bottom Line. The link is down below in the description section, and I thank you very much in advance. So on The Bottom Line, way back in 2020, when news came out that the Rangers initially got the #1 overall pick, I hated it. And the reason why I hated it is because My main argument with the Rangers for nearly a decade has been, you got to get better on defense. You're not playing good enough in front of your goalie. While that is still true, somewhat, although their defense has played much better as of late, now I'm starting to realize that the Rangers now have a shooting problem sometimes. But back then, I mainly argued defense. And the reason why I hated when they got the number 1 overall pick is because I was worried they were going to draft another winger. And sure enough, they did. And it turned out to be Alexis Lafreniere. And if I'm being honest here, his numbers over the first few years of his career have not shown me why he was selected number 1. They just haven't. That's just my opinion. Yours may vary. However, this season so far, he shut me up. He shut me up to a T. I know that I've been critical of him, but so far this season, in 14 games played, he's got 7 goals and 4 assists for 11 points and a plus-minus rating of +3. And you know what the impressive thing is for me? He's coming up clutch. This past Sunday was the most clutch I have seen Alexis Lafreniere so far in his young career. And he's only 22 years old. I understand he's a young kid. He still has a lot to learn. So maybe I was a bit too critical of him. But considering my position, how I felt about the Rangers getting the number 1 overall pick back in 2020, Alexis Lafreniere, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I ever doubted you. I'm sorry that I was so critical of you. And I'm sorry that I never gave you a fair chance. Now that you have a brand new 2-year contract, which I've said before and I'll say it again, this 2-year contract that he signed is a prove-it deal. And so far, he's proven it. He is proving me wrong. And I love it when I am proven wrong by an athlete. So, Alexis Lafreniere, I got to give you your flowers so far, man. You have been absolutely impressing me so far this season. I want him to succeed. There is nothing more that I want than a player to prove me wrong and go out there and have as much success as possible. And so far this season, Alexis Lafreniere is shutting me up and proving me wrong. And I could not be any freaking happier. So again, Alexis Lafreniere, I'm sorry. Thank you for proving me wrong. Now go out there and continue to have major success this season. Oh, and also, very quickly, to wrap things up here, Artemi Panarin is on freaking fire. 14 games in a row with at least a point to start the season, tying the late, great Rod Gilbert. If he gets one more point in the 15th game of the year against the Devils this upcoming Saturday, he will break that record. And that would be amazing. Artemi Panarin is just on another level to start the year. And, whew, man, oh man. Good on you, Breadman. Good on you. Oh, and one more thing. Speaking of Rangers versus Devils, this upcoming Saturday, November 18th, I will be live streaming that game on the THPN YouTube channel. It's the Rangers, it's the Devils, it's the Battle of the Hudson. It is going to be an epic matchup. The Rangers will be coming off their bye week. Hopefully they won't be too rusty, but it's the Rangers, it's the Devils. What more do you want? So make sure that you tune in to the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel this upcoming Saturday, November 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Your boy will have all the action for you. All right, Ranger fans, that is going to wrap it up for this episode of From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, sincere apologies for my voice not being 100%, and I'm sorry for my webcam not working if you're watching on YouTube. And again, my deepest apologies to Alexei Lafreniere. If you like what you heard and you want to keep on hearing more, make sure that you subscribe on all audio platforms and rate us 5 stars. It would mean the world to us. And if you're watching on the YouTube side, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell so you stay notified of every single episode. Also, make sure you follow us on all social media as well, Twitter and Instagram at BlueSeats94, and use the hashtag BlueSeats to keep the conversation going. What do you think of the Rangers' performance against the Blue Jackets? What do you think of the officiating? And now that they're on a bye week, how are we feeling about the team 14 games into the season? I want to hear from you at BlueSeats94 on all social media. And also leave a comment below if you're watching on YouTube and use the hashtag BlueSeats. And once again, just another reminder, we are sponsored by SeatGeek. Use the code BlueSeats at checkout for $20 off your ticket purchase. Until the next episode, I'm Jimmy Fanizzi. This is From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. Go Blue Shirts, and I'll catch you next time. Peace!